Hey everybody, if this thing is working correctly, then welcome to episode 110 of the Party Invite Show. We're jumping right into it this week for those of you watching live. It's a little different. No pre-show. We just wanted to jump right into this because we're really excited about our topic today. I am your host, Tegan. Over here, I'm joined as always by Vilos.
That's me.
Vilos plays games on Twitter. And Sovereign Sid themselves.
Hello, friends.
And Chris is out this week. I mean, we were lucky to have Chris last week. But this week, we wanted to cover a topic now that Tears of the Kingdom is out in the wild. Vilos, you've been able to sink some time into it a little bit. We are ready to jump into a relevant topic. If anybody's been cruising the internet the past week, you've seen nonstop Tears of the Kingdom content. You've seen people making wild contraptions, just very, very clever, insane things that I never thought I'd see in a Zelda game. This is, Vilos, I think the rumor has it that Tears of the Kingdom was probably finished being made 3 years ago, and that the last 3 years were basically spent debugging the game, because...
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
The game just has insane stuff like that. So just like that, we found ourselves a topic. So not only Tears of the Kingdom, we're going to tell you about some other games that allow us to unleash our creativity. Games that really reward you, not just for exploring like a lot of games have, but really being a clever player. Just being, being able to solve problems your own personal way so that you feel extra rewarded from it. But the topics later. Before that will be what we've been playing. We've got some stuff lined up for you. But let's bliss it up a little bit. We like to start every show with something that made us smile. If you had something that made you smile in the past week, gaming or otherwise, let us know in the comments or anywhere on our socials. I'll start with something. I have barely done any gaming over the past week. We had a good friend. We had a good couple friends in here from Kansas City. It was nice to see them again. Where Party Invite started in Kansas City, and I moved up here to Seattle. You see some pictures around on our Twitch here of some pictures I've taken. But Seattle's great, but we have plenty of things that we've never explored before. So what we do is when we have somebody visit, we try to do some of either the touristy things or go on a hike that's like maybe a little easier than my partner and I would typically go on by ourselves. Because a funny thing we found here is that moderate trails, so we use an app called All Trails. It's fantastic. The free version is great. It says you can do an easy, moderate, or hard hike, but the hard ones are hard. There's no doubt about that. But the moderate ones are wildly easier and more difficult than each other. So like a moderate one might just mean it's got a tiny bit of little elevation. You're going to be huffing and puffing for a minute, but other than that, as long as you have a decent pair of shoes, you're perfectly fine. On the other end of the moderate spectrum, you need trekking poles, extra good shoes, the whole deal. A lot of practice too, and it's hard to tell that stuff just by using the app. I mean, if you dig, people give good reviews. It's like how Newegg is or used to be. It's like, yeah, it's got good information, but it's really the user reviews that make it wonderful, that really give it its value. Anyway, we went on an easy hike, but a very long easy hike. We went on a 7-mile hike. That's the longest hike I've ever been on. It was dope. Lots of wildflowers, lots of shade, which was great because it's pretty warm up here right now. But it was really fun to go do that. I have a ton of pictures to sort through that I'll be excited to share probably on our Discord later. But that was great. It just felt good to be outside. I mean, sure, I did miss some gaming, but it just feels really good to be able to get outside with a group of people. The same reason I like gaming with people is like the main event is fun, but it's the sharing it with everybody that's really what matters. So yeah, I had some other stuff going on, but that's been the highlight of my week. It was really nice. So yeah, not a lot of gaming. My what we've been playing is pretty short and sweet. What's up, Tessie in chat? Good to see you. And hello to Odysseus and everybody else in chat as well. What made you smile this week? Sav, you got a lot of stuff going on. It seems like it's get out there and participate in activities season,
Yeah, it really is. I have been out of the apartment like every morning this whole entire week and just busy every day since. And it's really nice to have like a sense of fullness to my days again rather than just like waking up and then sitting around and then like eating and then sitting around. So like
Yeah.
it's really nice. Um Today I went back to my hometown. I went there yesterday too, but I went back to my hometown because they are doing a Pokemon trading card game tournament at the local game and card shop. And my friend who works there, I think is like a manager, I'm not really sure, but one of my friends who works there had asked me like a couple months ago if I wanted to be like a guest battler because he knows that I cosplay as Nessa. And so every third Friday of the month, so it'll be tomorrow that I go down there and do this. They have like a what's called the Elite Four challenge because until then, every Friday is just regular gym leader challenge. You know, you'll come in, like the kids will come in because it's for the kids. Anyone can play, but it's like for the kids. They'll come in and then play Pokemon cards and like battle each other and trade and all that whatnot. It's like one of those, kind of campfire things. It's like an officially sanctioned Pokemon thing. So tomorrow I'll be going up there to cosplay as Nessa and use a water deck. Um, they're going to be loaning me one because I haven't been collecting the cards like that. So they're loaning me one to use. And today I went up there to train, and it was really really fun.
That's
And
fun.
I got this awesome shirt there.
Oh hell yeah, that's my favorite Pokemon.
That's a really cool shirt.
That is cool.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna get it, but then I saw it was their last one, and it's like so incredibly on brand for me. Like purple and Mario and Peach is like front and center, and I have to have it. For
Do
those who are
you want to
listening,
put that
watching,
back up on screen real quick?
oh yeah. For those who are listening and not watching, it is a like an artist's depiction of the poster art from the Super Mario Brothers movie that just came out.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Heck yeah. Swag.
All right, did I do it?
Yep, we did it. We all right. We fulfilled our contract, so now we can move on. That's
Yeah.
great though. I know all three of us in here, I think, are t-shirt enthusiasts. Every time we can get our hands on something, we're like, all right, we got to trade horses here. You get this, but I get the cool t-shirt. So
Yo.
hell yeah, and to be a gym leader like that, I mean, that's kind of the dream, right? You get to train the chillins and be a part of your, you get to be the zeitgeist for somebody. There might be somebody who grows up and really remembers that, so that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Because I used to do like Pokemon card stuff like when I was littler, but then I got more into the Pokemon competitive community for like the video games, where I was a water type gym leader for like forums and stuff. So it's kind of tapping back into that little ordeal, and it's like really nostalgic, but also new at the same time since like I've never competed in an actual tournament before for cards.
Right on.
Oh, and I'm looking forward to hearing how that goes because there will still be like one 9-year-old at least that's just like, you're trash. Like, I'm coming in here knowing exactly what I'm gonna do, and you're gonna be like,
Oh no, I
I
like I even
promise.
I brought the deck home to study
Some
it
of
too,
those,
so I could be able to just be like, hey, I know what this does on site, and you going down, and it comes in
yeah,
like this
some of
little.
these kids are intense. I promise.
That's cool.
I'm not. I don't doubt you at all. The guy who was training me, he was just like, yeah, some of these kids are going to be like so like vehement about battling you. Some of them will just be like, can I like battle you and stuff? But then some of them will just come up to you, look at you directly in the eye, and be like, you're going down. You and your family and your bloodline
Yeah,
over. Like,
you're gonna have way too good of a time though, for sure.
like they're going to attack my life points directly, and we're not even playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Like,
Oh, that's good.
hi Benson.
Well, excellent. Vilos, what's good with you?
Yeah. So, thankfully, last weekend I officially accepted the position that I've been working at my day job, and big thing is that from this point last year, I am now making $18,000 different from what I was making last year.
That's a good number.
Like, it's a lot. It's pretty huge.
It's over 9,000. What more do you
It
need to
is.
say? You know?
And so, yeah, my blissing up is the future. You know, whatever that's going to entail. Definitely hoping to get out of these digs before wintertime. So
Right
that's the
on.
plan right now.
Hell yeah.
Things are looking up on that.
Excited
Yeah.
for you. Yeah, that's good news.
New job opportunities are always great. Like especially when you don't know like what the future does hold or like entails, like when you finally have that little bit of security that you'll be fine. That's really good.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Lizzie had some stuff. I won't elaborate, but she had some stuff in her career world that was tumultuous, to say the least. But in the end, we at least like temporarily are happier with where we are, and it felt good to be able to essentially stick through what was a confusing situation where the future was very unclear, to kind of land on our feet and feel better, certainly better than we did 6 months ago. So that's always so good. It feels, it feels good to feel good. It feels good when you've got, the like thing that takes up, your 40 hours a week or like a huge chunk of your time. It's so much better to feel good about that stuff. It just makes the rest of your life smoother and all this. So I'm really happy for you, man.
Thank you.
All right, well, yeah, that's smiles for all of us. Well, let's see. So let's move over into what we've been playing. We got 2 new ones for Sav. We've got, of course, I'm just going to shout this out because it'll segue later into our party topic, but we got plenty of Tears of the Kingdom ahead of us. So, chat, if you got questions for Vilos here, if you've got legendary tweets or any of that stuff, drop them in chat. We'd love to hear it. And I don't think I'm ever going to get tired of Zelda content, like the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom stuff. So if you got them, drop them here for us. But Sav, let's start out with you.
Okay.
You got a theme going this week, huh?
Yeah, and it's gonna consist throughout the rest of the week too, I think. Maybe even the whole month, depending on how the streams go, because it's a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun doing these games here. But the first one I'm going to be talking about is called SD Gundam Battle Alliance. Very and watching 3 Knuckles.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a hack and slashy shoot 'em up like action character fighter. So like think like Devil May Cry or like Bayonetta, Beautiful Joe, games like that where you are in this like overworld and you're like unleashing fancy combos and things like that. And it's like a cross game. So like all these different universes are coming together and it features like 15 or so different franchises from all of the Mobile Suit Gundam series. And so what the game is about is like it's super chibified, by the way. So it's really, really super cute. All the Gundams are like super deformed, which is why it's called SD Gundam. It's super deformed, as in.
Are you
Gundam.
serious? It's called SD for super deformed?
Yeah, that's what SD stands for. So SD, super deformed, is the official way to call a chibi character a chibi character. So like people are like, oh yeah, you're chibi. That means super deformed. Fun fact.
Oh my gosh, this is not what I was expecting to learn on the show today. That's just hell yeah, super deformed. I don't even know what joke to make, but I'm gonna store that in my back pocket. I'll bring it out later.
Okay. I mean, it'll fit because it's super deformed.
Ooh, amorphous maybe, huh? Transform? I don't know. This is Transformers game. You said okay. So this game you said it has like 15 franchises in it. Of course, I only know like 3 mech franchises that aren't like
honestly like the whole list. I was going down them. I was like, I don't recognize that one or that one or that one. Oh hey, Gundam Wing. I don't know what that one is. Like so. There's like G Gundam and Gundam Wing that I recognize, and then something else that I couldn't remember. But then they also just announced the new one that I'm currently watching, which is Mobile Suit Gundam Witch from Mercury. The Witch from Mercury. So that one's really cool. It's actually my favorite Gundam so far, and I'm only like 9 episodes in. Nice. And it's already I like it more than Gundam Wing. Okay, so it's good. But yeah, it features all these different franchises in kind of like a multiverse situation. So all of the universes of those franchises have like collided together into this like singularity for some reason. And it's your job to first of all right now. Do you know? Figure out why. Yeah, they are for whatever reason. I mean, we had an in-game build up to it, but then DC was just like, hey, that looks cool. I want to do that.
I mean, it's totally appropriate for. Well, I should bring this up later in the party topic, but it really is just a sandbox. People love sandboxes. So they're like, what if all your favorite characters were just thrown in there? It's why people love Brawl, I mean, that's basically multiverse. They're just like, what if we took all these things that have occupied the space in your head and we just threw them together? What would happen? So maybe, we joke about zombies or Vikings being the zeitgeist, but maybe maybe this like sandbox multiverse thing has actually been dominating the scene this whole time. We just didn't appreciate it.
Well, like it kind of evokes that like childhood wonder of like, oh my gosh, what if like Mario and Sonic like got in a race, and then it continues like, what if the Flash and well, I was gonna say the Flash and Superman, but that's not a different universe.
I mean, Justice League is still,
Yeah,
ensemble though.
I was like as soon as I said that, I was like, wait, who in Marvel is like super fast? Do we like who's the Marvel speedster? And I couldn't think of one. But moving beyond that,
Quicksilver, baby.
oh yeah, duh. Comments are gonna come from me.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's like this whole multiverse situation, and like you have to figure out why it's happening and then also fix it, because it's breaking all of these timelines and rewriting the histories of those different universes and changing the outcomes like super drastically in ways that are, bad for people. So you're trying to
Right.
fix that. And it has something to do with like, it almost seems like a virtual sort of thing, because your character has the ability to like what's called break out, which means to like leave and enter like these different realities at will. And I guess that's what you're using to like go in and try to help fix these histories. But you could choose any player, like any pilot that you have available in any Gundam unit from any of these universes, as long as you have the blueprints to unlock them and stuff. And then you can go in and you can customize them with like their different perks and abilities and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. It's like a decent little time sink.
So it's super deformed because they're all like squat, because they're all basically square shaped. Kind of. I mean, they're really wide. Look, this guy's got a huge like shield and stuff on him. Let's.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Okay. See, Chibi is.
Or their signature moves or anything, but you can affect how strong they are and how often you get them and how quickly you can perform them and things like that. So, but yeah, it's been fun. You can play with up to 3 people. So us, and it's free on all platforms.
Dope.
But it does have like, you know what? I don't know if it's free because I got it on Game Pass, so I shouldn't say that. I got it on Game Pass. And I know it's on PS Plus because Lord Chrome actually looked into it, so it should be on PS Plus as well. And I think it's on the Switch too.
Oh, it's definitely not free, by the way. I did.
Oh no, what is it like $49.99 or something?
It's $60 whole on Steam.
Ah, yes. So it's free for $60. There you go. On all platforms. But
so Game Pass.
The caveat is that it doesn't appear that there's to be cross-platform functionality. Because I was actually playing and a Japanese player came in and they were like, oh yeah, I like to play this game too. What platform are you on? I was like, oh, I'm on Game Pass. He was like, oh no, I'm on like Steam. So we can't play together. So I assume either it's that weird kind of phenomenon where Xbox and Steam don't have the cross compatibility, but everything else does, or there's just no cross compatibility. So.
Well, okay, so you just confirmed that this game is not free, yeah?
Correct. Yes.
Correct.
You're playing it on PC? What did you say you were playing on? Sorry, I was busy fixing the broken audio. Oops, sorry, chat, everybody. Don't worry, they can hear me. I just wasn't speaking, so that does us a lot of good. This is why this podcast needs to go in development for 3 years before it gets released to the public, so we can, troubleshoot everything. There's a callback, everybody. Yes. I get extra channel.
But no, I was playing it on Game Pass for free.
Oh, it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. Yeah. And so that's why I was like, we should totally play together because like it supports up to 3 people on the same platform, as far as I know. And I don't think there's cross compatibility, but I think it's like that one thing where it's just like Steam and Microsoft don't play nice, but everyone else does. So sure. I haven't had the opportunity to test that, but yeah. SD Gundam Battle Alliance.
Yeah, Steam has that banner thing where it says requires agreement to a third-party EULA. So it's probably just like every single platform is exclusive to itself. Just
okay, so no crossplay.
Douche move on what is it? Bandai? Is it Bandai? No, it is Bandai Namco.
Yeah, it's Bandai Namco. Yeah,
doing that shit. Yeah.
But I mean, there's microtransactions and DLC. Well, not microtransactions, but there's DLC because there's like a Microsoft store, and that new one that I told you about, Witch from Mercury, is a paid DLC to unlock, which I would gladly pay money for because, first of all, that series is great, and secondly, I saw the trailer for that mech, and oh my gosh, she is awesome. I mean, just like she's an anime, so I mean, I would definitely buy that if I played it more. So I'll have to have some motivation to play it more. Wink, wink, hint.
Wink, wink, hint. Well, wonderful. How did you find this game? So like what there are a lot of mech games out there. Did you just pick this one because it was on Game Pass?
So I got chosen to be do a sponsored stream for Mech Arena, which I'll talk about later. And I wanted the minimum requirement that I do for my own personal streams is 3 hours at a time. The sponsored stream was stream for this for at least 2 hours, and that's why I hit you up. I was like, hey, do you want to play Pokken later? Because Mech Arena I didn't think would cover 2 hours of content. Little did I know, I forgot how addicted I was to that game.
Oh yeah,
so I was looking for.
It was such a sob game. As soon as I loaded that thing up, I was just like, oh yeah, this is perfect.
Well, I was playing with Benson the other night, and so we actually might play a little bit a little later on tonight. But if you want to join, but I was looking for another game that was mechy to play after Mech Arena, and Hawken hadn't quite come out yet. So I was just like, what is there? What is there? Gundam Evolution? Okay, that's cool. But then I was actually talking to him, and he was like, hey, check this game out on Game Pass. So I did, and it was fun, and we played it together. It was awesome.
If anybody knows mechs, it's Benson.
Yeah. The reason that I reached out to him in the first place is because I was like, hey, do you want to play Super Mecha Champions? Because we had guns down on that in the past, and that's another. I mean, it's basically.
How long you been waiting to use that one? You've been waiting to gun down on it.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even. Wow.
Yeah, that's the next mech one you'll be playing. Gundam Gun Down.
Actually, that sounds like a Gundam 2D fighter.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go seek it out. Let's play it on stream. It's is it Mech May? Huh? Mech May?
It is Mech May. Mech May now. It is now. Mech May Madness.
Mech May Madness. Wow. The multiversal something in there. Multiversal Gundam Madness. Mech Madness.
Yeah.
Well, you'll talk about Mech Arena more in a minute. That's the one I'm more familiar with. That was super fun to watch on your channel, which for those out there, if you're not following Sov, it's twitch.tv/SovereignSyd. That's Sovereign SYD. Go follow them. It's great. Let's see. We'll bounce over to me. We're saving Vilos for last for those. Every time I read TOTK, I just read TikTok. And I'm like, why are we talking about TikTok? Why am I reading about TikTok? It's not. It's never that. What did I play?
It's never gonna be. Yeah.
It's never gonna be. Actually, I'll do a shout out here. This is pretty funny on Odysseus's channel. Odysseus here in chat, longtime mod and community member here for us. On his channel, he added channel points to. It was. You can redeem this, and I'll make a Twitter account, and even higher was he'll make a TikTok account, and it was some literally millions of channel points. You would never ever be able to get it out. I just got a kick out of that. They're TikTokers, and then there's the rest of us, or something. I don't know. Anyway, Darkest Dungeon 2. That's the game that I played this week. Since I didn't do a lot of gaming, I played a little bit earlier today. Darkest Dungeon 2 is a game that I talked about last week, so I don't have a whole lot new to talk about. Well, that's not true, but I'm not going to go super in-depth because if you'd like to see more, you can go back and watch those VODs, and I'm going to continue to stream that moving forward. But today when I played my third session since 1.0 came out, where there was mostly a reset of all of your progress. There are a few things that carried over, which is very nice. I have some more character abilities unlocked than your day one dungeoneer would have. But I start with only the 4 characters in Darkest Dungeon, even though I could have sworn that I unlocked a 5th character at the end of our last stream. In fact, I know I did. The issue is that every time I boot up Darkest Dungeon 2 on Epic Games, it asks me, hey, your cloud save is out of sync with your local save. Which one do you want to use? And every time I'm in a panic. I'm like, am I about to lose a bunch of data if I pick the wrong one? Because I can't see which data is actually newer. So don't love that, and I need to get to the bottom of that because I am not trying to lose an entire session's worth of progression there. But Darkest Dungeon 2, in its 1.0 form, you have these candles. It is a roguelite which means these candles that you collect give you permanent upgrades across your account for the rest of the time for all of your runs. So the way it works in here is your carriage, for example. Your carriage has durability in a couple different ways. You have wheel durability and hull, like armor durability. And as you progress through this random path in the region you're in, sometimes your carriage will get hit. Either you'll run over rocky terrain and your wheels are damaged, or you're hit by a bunch of arrows and your armor is damaged. When you keep that armor up, you get buffs during your fights. If it goes down all the way and you get attacked again, you have to do a special encounter where one of your crewmates, like one of your party members, has to stop and not attack or heal or do anything. They have to just only repair the carriage, so it makes it kind of tough because you're always down a player. But lots of new things, but those candles are really the trick here. I unlocked more health for my carriage, which, since I've had that like dangerous encounter every time I've played so far, I'm hoping that that'll really help me out. But most of the other unlocks are things like you unlocked the ability to find new, very powerful trinkets. You've unlocked the ability to find cool new pets that have special abilities that they'll travel with you and all this. So what I'm noticing, because Darkest Dungeon 2 is much more run-based than the first game, meaning you boot up the game, you start fresh, you go as far as you can until you lose. The game wants you to know when to throw in the towel. So when you get to an inn at the end of a region, you can bank all of the candles that you've saved up with no loss at all. Once you get to the end, you're at a safe spot, so you can end right there. Yeah, your run is over, so next time you'll start at the beginning, but you keep all of those candles, which is just tremendously helpful. So I've been kind of throwing myself at the wall. I'm not trying to win the whole run. I'm just trying to get a bunch of candles. And in fact, I just unlocked a torch, which you can equip. There are torches to make the game easier or to make the game harder, and I just unlocked the one to make the game harder for more candles. So I'm excited to do that. You know, the game's already tough, but it's really just about learning what to do. And since I have some experience under my belt, I'm pretty confident that even though I expect to lose, I think it'll be worth the candles that I'll unlock. But if the progression feels good, the characters feel good, the combat feels good. The most important thing, let's see, I'm gonna get this picture on screen here. I fought my first cosmic encounter. Those are from the first game. They're always opt-in battles. So you're never going to have to do one. You have to start the battle on purpose. And so this time I said, you know what? I'm just trying to unlock candles. If I die, it's not it's not the end of the world. But I'm prepared for this. I generally know what to expect because the enemies are the familiar enemies are the same as in the first game. So I knew what to expect, and I gave all my characters all the abilities that were appropriate. I made sure they had everything equipped. I was as prepared for this as I think I could have possibly been. So here's the screenshot from when I was in there. You go into this spooky dimension and fight these creepy, of course they're tentacle monsters because it's Eldritch Horror. But you fight these nasty things. They're beautiful and disgusting, and they make you go insane really quickly. I did win the fight, but it cost me the run because I wasn't able to, even though I escaped there and I got some crazy trinket that was just insane. I couldn't pick myself up long enough or quickly enough to survive the region. I did finish the region. I got to the inn, but I only had 3 people. And my struggle is because of this cloud save thing. Even though I know I've unlocked a 5th character, I don't know if the game realizes that. Because at the end, you're supposed to be like, hey, you have an empty slot in your 4-man team. And hey, you got this person waiting in the wings, so you could just fill them in. Unless they changed that in 1.0, I'm not sure why. Tessie, this game is Darkest Dungeon 2. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, sorry. Catching up on chat here. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, I don't know if that's a change, but it did frustrate me because I definitely could have kept going and completed another region because my people were super strong. When you take on bigger challenges, the reward is either these amazing trinkets, Shanty Pack, those are some amazing emotes in chat, or you get mastery points, which allow you to upgrade your skills, right? So you get to specialize. The coolest thing that I really learned today is I've unlocked more of these really weirdly specific trinkets is that the game really wants you to play a specific way. It says you can play any way you want, but if we give you this really strong trinket, you're gonna have to play in a very specific type of way. So like my grave robber, she's throwing daggers and stuff. She's almost always in the third slot from the front. That's just how I have my team set up. That's just how it usually is. But I got a trinket that is really powerful, but she has to be standing all the way at the back, or it doesn't work. And so I got some other stuff like that, and the game keeps throwing stuff at me. Where these trinkets, I'm like, how could this is so strong? How is this even balanced? And the answer is that you just have to figure out how to put yourself in the scenario where that trinket can actually work, because otherwise it's just useless, and it's really easy to forget you have a trinket, because it takes the character and makes them work in a completely different way than they do like by the standard, by default. But Darkest Dungeon 2, really enjoying it. I really highly recommend it. I think we checked last week. I think it's $40. Now that I've spent some more time with this, I would say unequivocally this game is worth $40. If it looks like a game you'd like, it's a roguelite. If you like Eldritch horror, really cool animation, both 2D and 3D, it's got it. Man, I'm really excited to play and stream more of this. Yeah, it's great. So you'll see more of that here on the channel. But I'm just feeling real good about that. Really good. With all these other games coming out, I mean, with Tears of the Kingdom all over the place, I thought maybe well, Vilos, actually, you have convinced me to buy the game. I will buy the game before the end of the year because it just looks like so much fun. But I thought I might have FOMO by watching all this and, kind of like decision paralysis. What do I feel like playing? Oh, everybody's playing this great big hit. Well, Darkest Dungeon is really doing it for me, so I'm happy to report that it's a big recommend. I buy it on the Epic Game Store and Steam. I don't think it's on consoles. I'd have to check, but yeah.
Just name like all your characters after the characters from The Legend of Zelda, and you're not missing out on anything.
Oh, yeah. Well, give me some
That's how
names.
it works, right?
Yep. Give me some names to name people. We got. I have 5 characters unlocked, but there are 12 total, which is insane to me.
Did you get what's it called? The barbarian character again?
The Hellion.
Hellion.
Yeah. She's the first one I unlocked. Yeah, she's dope. And I'll name her Siobhan again after you suggested that in the first game. So, great. Yeah. So enough of Darkest Dungeon 2, but I love that game. You'll see more of it. Enough of me flapping my lips. Sav, let's bounce back to you and finally hear about the Mech Arena that I watched you play last night.
Yes. So this game is called SD Gundam Battle Alliance.
Well,
I'm off script. No. So Mech Arena, full name Mech Arena Robot Showdown, which I actually didn't know until I got chosen to promote it or sponsor one of those streams. It was like the whole advertisement package was just like, this is the full name of the game, and I was like, I never knew that because it's not actually in the game. But Robot Showdown, basically, the way that I like to describe it is like a kind of watered down Super Mecha Champions. But if you've never played that, it is like a PvP focused mech game. You just pilot. You have a garage full of up to 5 mechs, and you pilot each different mech to basically accomplish whatever objective that is. Considering that's a PvP game, I'm sure you already know what those objectives are. There's deathmatch, and then there's control points. There isn't quite yet a domination sort of game mode or anything like that, or like King of the Hill.
Funny you would say that because the video, as you said that, said dominating. You're like, there's no domination mode. This character is dominating.
Dominating. No, I mean there are kill streaks and everything, so that's probably why. But yeah, it's pretty standard as far as modes go. But there are casual modes like tournament modes, or I'm sorry, not casual. There are casual modes like the control points and everything. But then there are hardcore tournament modes that could earn you super duper mondo prizes. And, so it's kind of like a little time sink like that. The way that you could customize your mechs, though, is really, really cool. Because, of course, you have the mech that comes with its innate abilities and its traits and things like that. But you can equip them each with 2 weapons up to their maximum energy capacity, and that's kind of where it gets tricky, because each weapon, there's like 8 different types of guns, like 8 classes of guns. So you have like your assaults, your missiles, your RPGs, your grenade launchers, your artillery, anti-air, things like that, beam weapons, electric weapons, things, all those kinds of things. So you can equip any of those kinds of weapons onto your mech, no matter what kind of mech they are. So the mechs themselves aren't prohibited by class or anything from equipping a certain type of weapon. The only thing that holds them back is their energy capacity. So the more energy capacity you have, the stronger weapons you can equip. So for instance, I have a mech called Paragon that has 2 plasma rifles on it, which are just beams that lock onto an opponent and can just basically cook them from the inside out. But they're both at, I think, capacity. They're both level 4. So they're plasma rifle 4. However, if I were to go use those on my new mech that I unlocked, which is called Arachnos, it has an energy capacity of 12. So I could do, or no, 16 actually. And so I could do like 2 level 8 plasma rifles or just 1 level 16 plasma rifle. So the robust weapons system is like one of the big draws to the game for me, because I can really change out the role of how I want to play a certain mech by what kind of weapon I give it. And then you can augment those weapons by the pilot of your mech. You could choose not to have a pilot in there at all. In fact, when you start out the game, you don't have access to pilots.
Really?
But then you level up and you get a default pilot, and then you can unlock more with the in-game currency from there.
Wow. See, there's no ethical way to use AI piloted mechs, They're operating off of stolen pilot techniques.
Well,
so you really
it is set in the future.
Game?
We don't know.
I mean, yeah, AI stuff's complicated. But you really do. You start with no pilot, and what? So mid-match, you access pilots, or is that like a leveling up your account kind of thing?
Leveling up your account. So like you reach level like 3 or 4 or something, and then you get access to pilots. But they're just another augment, So like think of it in League of Legends, where they're basically like runes, right?
Sure.
So you equip
Into the breach, they can work just fine, but they get like extra buffs if the pilot is skilled, So it's like your pilot can die, but the mech can keep going on.
That's what makes this game different than Super Mecha Champions, because you don't actually control the pilots themselves. They're just something you tack onto the mech, and then they augment the mech's like weaponry. But in Super Mecha Champions, for example, the pilot is independent of the mech. So like your mech can be destroyed, and then your pilot will eject, and then you're running around diva style until your mech comes back, and you get back in and continue. But in this game, it's just the mechs. The pilots are basically just what's the word I'm looking for? Cosmetic, except for that they do add those like stat augmentations. So like for instance, on the plasma rifles that I mentioned earlier, there's a pilot who specializes in beam weaponry. So then he'll power up those plasma rifles, and then you can equip those things. Oh, I didn't know that was at the end. Subscribe. You can then augment that pilot with implants, which then increase his beam weapon prowess even more. So there's a bunch of different ways that you could toolkit. Oh, my cat's trying to get out of the room. There are bunches of different ways that you could tool out your mech so that you could really, really tailor it to your playstyle. And that's something that I really appreciate, because you can bring out not only the best potential in your mech, but the strategy of your whole team just by having like a certain loadout.
Well, when I popped in last night, you were playing a mech that had this cool like ring, like a metal wheel that you rolled around on, and then you supercharged forward and would just smash into enemies and sometimes one-shot them. If not, you did massive damage. And it was cool to see that, because not only was it great for positioning, but it just says, hey, this person's out in the open. What are they going to do? I'm just going to smash into them. You kind of have to aim,
Yeah.
But really, it's like Overwatch. You're zoning, and you're realizing that if I can use my one big mobility move right now, I could just immediately win the fight before any weapons are fired.
So the mech that you're talking about is called Killshot, and for good reason, because that charge does massive, massive damage, and I have it decked out with shotguns. So in the case that the dash doesn't take out the enemy, I have shotguns that do massive close-up range damage to finish the job. So when I got that super brutal 10 streak like in a row last night, a lot of that was from me combining the dash with the shotguns. So the one drawback is that it has like super low health. But there's another one that's called Slingshot, which has the same kind of dash. It doesn't do as much damage, and I think it affects their skills somehow. I don't really know about that, but I was playing with someone last night, and he really brought out the best of that mech. We were rolling around together on Killshot and Slingshot, just traversing the map, and I was killing everything, and he was taking all the points, and it was really just like a dynamic duo situation. It felt really good.
Hell yeah. Yeah, watching you both tag team was good. Having even just one person on your team in a game like this can make such a big difference. Not just in like achieving victory, but being able to coordinate even a little bit, or to even root for each other when I mean, you were the last one standing a couple times.
That's one of the drawbacks too, is that you do have to unlock the extra slots for your mechs in the game, by getting them with the currencies, which you can earn all the time in the game. This game never stops giving you rewards. It's really addictive. So you'll accomplish a quest, and then you'll get a reward that was just like for accomplishing a quest, and then there will be a quest for having obtained that reward, and then it's just like a big old chain reaction of just collecting rewards, and it's super satisfying, and the dopamine hits, and it's like I'm playing at the casino or something, but I'm not actually spending any money. It's great. It's super great.
Oh yeah.
But you can spend money. There are microtransactions. This game is made by the same people who did Raid Shadow Legends. Yes, that one that we see all the ads for all the time. The ads are actually really funny if you watch them. But it's Plarium, I think is the name of the company. And so there's microtransactions, and they hit you with the ads all the time between matches. You have to like X out of them. But it's not pay to win. You do get access to like better weaponry and mechs like faster if you pay money. So it's pay to win faster, but you can really just outplay and outsmart, and basically outgun your opponents no matter what they have, especially if you have the right loadout and if you work with your team well enough.
Awesome. Well, sounds like a lot of fun. How are you playing this one again? I apologize if I'm having you repeat stuff. Oh my gosh, hi Kitty, I didn't know.
No, I don't actually think I mentioned, but I'm playing this on PC, and it's available on PC and mobile for free $99. Absolute free. And I mean free this time, not secretly $60 like the last game I talked about. I actually mean free. Actually, if you're watching right now in the chat, I have a special link that you can use to download the game if it looked fun to you. And you can earn prizes for playing the game. So you'll get like a super skin, you'll get a bunch of in-game currency, like a bunch of it, and then some of the freemium currency as well. So I'll be posting that here in a little bit when I go to fetch it. But yeah, as a little gift for, watching live here on Twitch. So if you're listening right now, make sure to catch us live every Thursday because you might get something out of it. I mean, besides hearing us talk about games and seeing our lovely faces.
Yeah. Got to give people a reason to listen, Vinelos, are you ready to crack open a cold one with the Hyruleans here? Huh?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what's happening, then absolutely, yes.
Oh, man. Do they have any tasty drinks? I mean, obviously you can cook a bunch of stuff up in Zelda, but do they have,
I mean, honestly, it's all just elixirs there. Like, elixirs are... They're a whole thing. Yeah, so... Tears of the Kingdom. Kind of good. And that's all I have to... No. It's outstanding. It's there behind me. There's a lot to say about it, but I'm not going to get all the way into it because definitely we have a party topic to get specifically into. But I was late to getting into it on Friday on release day, and because work or something, I guess. But once I grabbed it, I got directly into it. I played Breath of the Wild. I think almost a full year after it came out, and it took me a while to just like really feel like getting into it. I think from when I started Breath of the Wild to when I actually finished it was probably another year, and that's because I got into it at about the 40-hour mark. I was like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted it to be, and then I like got really into it, right? But Tears of the Kingdom, from the first second of it, it hooks you, and it not only gives you the same feels that Breath of the Wild did, but it gives you so many more options of whatever you want to do. If it's really the definition of fuck around and find out. The entirety of the game is literally all of it. The story starts off like a lot quicker, I feel like, than Breath of the Wild did. It's giving you story immediately. So if you're there for a narrative, it's definitely there. I haven't gotten to the major story points and stuff like that, so there's not really any spoiling that for me. I ended up playing through Age of Calamity, the Hyrule Warriors game, pretty extensively. So like the lore has been building and building. So narratively, I cannot wait to get through story bits, but I have not been doing that. I have just not been, which
Because
is
there's
the
so
case
much
for a lot
stuff.
of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You know how many videos I've seen regarding the story of Tears of the Kingdom? 0.
Yeah, it's very few. It's such a good time though. The whole point, as far as my point right now, is to open up the map as much as possible and gain enough stamina and hearts to get to where I want to be. That's really the name of the game. I've unlocked so many recipes for literally everything, the elixirs and the wild amount of foods that are available. Just getting ready to go to the different main story quests for each region on the map. I'm not going to divulge a whole lot of information, but for those that don't know, it's very obvious very early in the game, is that if you don't know, there are 3 maps of the world in Tears of the Kingdom. It's the sky map, the surface map, and the chasms. And
Ooh, the chasms, I like that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, guess what I did? I spent almost all my time in the chasms.
As you do.
And I don't recommend it.
Like, wow, this place is dank.
Literally, I cannot explain exactly how wild it is. But if you go in there unprepared, it's very easy. But the moment that you get the glider, it's like the moment that everybody was waiting for, because it's not immediate. Like Breath of the Wild, I feel like you could do it within the first hour, if I remember right. But here, unless you didn't wander around for several hours beforehand, who does that? Then it actually may take you a few hours. Like it took me about 6 hours, but it realistically should probably take you 3 hours maybe to get to the glider. But once you get that, you have the option, because there are several holes in the surface of Hyrule, that you can just hop into the scary hole, pop your glider as like several times. Like you obviously you don't have the stamina to just drop all the way down with the glider. Obviously. There's the chasms are actually like a couple miles at least down, and they're not 100% seamless. Like you can tell, but there's not like major performance issues or anything like that. When you're traversing it, you can literally just like pop your glider every once in a while and be falling, and pop your glider every once in a while, and you watch the surroundings of this scary dark tunnel turn into an even potentially scarier spot as you go down. And depending on which chasm you've hopped into, it could be wildly different. There's one that appears to be the end game chasm that I went into and was not fortunate enough to be able to get out of it. You can technically, at the point that you get the glider, you can technically fast travel out of the chasms. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to find a way out. And if you go into the one that appears to be, I'm not sure because I haven't looked up, but at the one that appears to be the end game one, there's no escape. And it's brutal as hell. And the one place that looks like it's a potential escape, you run directly into a Lionel, which, if you're familiar with Breath of the Wild, Lionels are the giant lion centaur guys that will absolutely kick your ass no matter what you're doing, what you've got. And this dude was like blue and white, so that means he's like extra special, like mini boss Lionel. Yeah.
I tell you what, like I hated fighting the Lionels in Breath of the Wild, but I love looking at them. I would just like watch them prance around the field and stuff, and try not to be seen by them so I don't die. But like I would be out there like.
And I mean these chasms, you're not just running around them. In certain parts of them, you're actually avoiding gloom, which is a dark, corrupted force. We've seen it before in many different forms in the Zelda series, but gloom will actively hurt you, and it not only takes your health, it actually stops that heart from refilling. So you have to have a specific food in order to get that heart back.
Wow.
So that's
Is that
hard.
the dubious dish? Is that the food?
If only. If it were that plentiful, that would be great. But it's not. It is absolutely not. You have to get some very specific fruits to get yourself back in the right spot. But
That's kind
I
of a
love
funny
this game.
concept to me. Like you get afflicted by the gloom and stuff, and you eat this fruit, and it's like tastes like happy, and then you're like, get rid of the gloom.
It really is. I mean, there's I forget exactly the names, but it's like the bright bloom and the bright bloom seed. They're giant bright blooms and stuff like that do different things. So it's actually what took me the most time in the chasms is that I had like 160 plus of these bright bloom seeds, and with them you can put them in recipes or whatever, but you can actually fuse them to weapons or put one on your shield, and besides that, you can throw one into the distance and it will illuminate an area that is like 50 feet around you or something like that. It's not a huge amount of light, but I had over 150 of them, and I needed them because the entirety of the chasms, like 90% of the chasms are completely not lit. You have to actually
Weird.
basically
I thought they
find.
would have been lit.
Yeah, you basically have to run this underground area with no map, and the only thing that unlocks the map sections down there is getting to these basically underground versions of the shrines. But you just get there and you examine it or whatever, and it illuminates a chunk of the area, illuminates part of the map. But even then, it is impossibly dark. Impossibly dark. And not only that, but in this game, there are particular creatures, maybe made up of creepy hands, that are faster than you.
No!
Spooky.
I hate those things.
They are faster than you, all right? And there are particular parts of the chasm that a lot of the gloom sits. And if you don't do anything to light up yourself or the area, which is really funny if you eat the food that lets you glow for a period of time, it's really great. You're just a bioluminescent Link, and it's really funny.
That's great.
But if you don't have anything to make yourself glow or make the area glow around you, they will chase you and they will get you, and you're done. Like, absolutely done.
Game over.
Yeah, the very first time I fell into the chasm, it got me, and I had to use my entire inventory to recover, because it took my hearts down to 1, and I had to recover all the hearts from the gloom issue and then refill the hearts, and it was a whole thing. And I was just running in the dark, hoping that I could make it to the next spot. And it's just brilliant. The whole game is great. There's no way that you don't play it. Like, if you have a Switch, just do it. And
so what you're telling me,
yeah,
with like this whole situation with the hands, is that like they took the survival and then they added the horror to it.
Oh yeah,
there's
plenty of scary spots in this game, and it's I actually jump scared twice.
No!
The first time was with the hands, and the second time was actually no, I guess it was the first time. The first time was the first time that the moon rose, the blood moon, and the blood moon rose, and I was doing something like just screwing around, killing a couple of bokoblins or whatever. They were dead, and I was just grabbing mushrooms or something, and the cutscene plays, which it's unskippable, I guess, this time around. That's probably going to be an update in the future. So the cutscene plays, and as I was running, grabbing these mushrooms, I just hear a little bit of something behind me. I'm like, what was that? And I turn around, and there's 2 fucking trees running at me, about to kick my ass.
Oh my god!
The whole ass tree, and I'm just like, but I actually jumped. It freaked me the hell out because I thought I'd taken care of all the enemies behind me.
You were robbing Mother Nature. They were just coming in for punishment,
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, that really
and-
is like Elden Ring, though, right? To turn around and just be like, duh! I'm
Yeah,
being attacked
and-
by an object.
Yeah, and the spawns of these the spawns of all the bad guys in this game are actually they're better, they're sneakier, especially during the blood moons. They're actually much quicker to come out of the ground and just completely surprise you out of nowhere. Like you can be in a part of the field that you think is completely free, even in daylight, and something will pop up. Some skeleton version of a bad guy will pop up. It's wild. I feel like it gives you a lot more resources this time around, which is great, but a lot more reasons to use the said resources.
Yeah,
like
a lot more
I'm-
need.
I literally, I think the last 3 or 4 hours that I've played, I've not been able to make any more meals because I keep stocked up that much.
Wait, like you're full, you have so many meals you can't make more?
I literally can't make more meals, yeah.
Lol.
Because I have like 20 elixirs and however many actual meals because of the whole glow thing, the hasty elixirs, and the stealth that I'm not too worried about.
But why are you hoarding all this food? There's a world hunger problem. You have all this food just in your pocket?
Listen,
Every
it gives
step
you a lot.
Every step you take, it's like slosh, slosh, slosh.
I mean, it really would be because I am keeping a steady supply of the bright blooms or whatever they're called, and I'm keeping a steady supply of there's a fire fruit, and not only is that good to throw shit or to throw at shit, but you can fuse it to weapons. You can fuse it to your shield or whatever.
Speaking of that, can you
yeah.
like fuse dubious food to like an arrow and then shoot an enemy with an arrow and make them
Stop
like
once
sick?
it's so bad.
Probably. I bet that's possible. I don't actually doubt it. I think that's probably something stupid like that is possible.
Oh my gosh, a redneck's poison
I just
arrow.
want to have a use for dubious food. Like
Yeah.
I make it so
probably
much by
is.
accident. I need to have a use for it.
Have like
Please.
a gun that just shoots dubious food nonstop. Or like Vilas had nothing but time and poisonous food.
Oh my god! I mean, we're gonna talk about in the topic some of the things that people have come up with. So
we
I'm
are.
kind of scared about that.
Can we take just a few minute break and then we'll hop over and we'll discuss that stuff because we got so much and I cannot sit in this chair through that whole conversation. I'm so excited. Yeah, let's BRB real quick and we'll be back with our topic of unleashing your creativity here in these games. Because, yeah, man, Tears of the Kingdom is just overflowing with it. So let's...
Yeah.
Woo! All right. Well, back to it. Let's see. So Vilas, we left off not talking about some stuff in Tears of the Kingdom so that we could now talk about some stuff from Tears of the Kingdom. Let's hear it. So last week... everybody had Zelda fever, but we kind of were doing our own thing. So this week we really wanted to revisit this idea, not necessarily just a deep dive into Zelda, which we've done stuff like that before, but really this creative element that is so enrapturing for players and viewers alike, like me, who haven't played. I haven't even played Breath of the Wild. I've only watched it. It scratches this certain itch. I mean, Vilos, come on, you've heard what I said about open world games. It's just so big.
I get it.
If I get to watch the best part, I know. But you've convinced me, and I'm going to buy this game before the end of the year. Well, I'll actually play it because I know that my partner's buying it. She'll probably have it by the end of the week.
Reap the benefits.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for it. But the thing that gets people so excited about this is this creative element, the part of the game that says this puzzle can be solved in a bunch of different ways. How are you going to do it? So that if all three of us played all the way through Tears of the Kingdom, 100%ed it, by this time next year. Guess, because there's so much game there. If all three of us ran through it and then talked about our experiences, so much of our experience would be wildly different. How did you solve this puzzle in this shrine? Oh, you lifted this thing up here? Oh, well, I somehow flung myself using this other ability. Or I climbed using some weird contraption I built using the pots and pans, basically, that were lying around. I mean, you mentioned the gloom before earlier, and the first thing that I saw, like, spoilery, non-spoiler, is that you could cross the gloom in a certain way if you just experimented. If you could find, instead of having to like deal with it and heal, kind of like you mentioned, it says like, hey, in these circumstances, you can actually just bypass all of this. Just reading all that stuff is so exciting, and it scratches that creative itch. So we wanted to talk about not only Tears of the Kingdom, which we'll dive back into here in a moment, but some other games that are similar to that, where the creativity of your problem solving is really up to the player. You can really go wild in what these games will allow you to do. So first, Tears of the Kingdom. Vilos, I've seen some crazy stuff going around this week with videos, people building mech robots. So, Sav, I think this is a reason for you to get into this game.
part of Mech May.
Yeah,
Like
I hear
building whole Jaeger units in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the video that I'm talking about, I will have to send it to you. Somebody posted it
Oh my god.
somewhere in our community, but it is phenomenal. Just so many weird contraptions. I mean, of course, the first one I saw, someone created just a giant mech gingerbread man looking thing that just was, shooting fire out of his dick, because of course he was. Oh, by the way,
He was literally
18 plus
packing
content,
heat.
everybody. He was
Yeah.
literally packing heat. Oh, I should have. Oh, all right.
There was a sequel to that as well.
Oh dear.
So
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I'm gonna say it just because you're gonna enjoy it, Sav. Actually, I think it's in our Tears of the Kingdom Discord, by the way. So in the thread, so it's really not spoilers. I'm gonna say it right now that anything you can build in Tears of the Kingdom is not a spoiler. That said, there are particular devices and stuff that allow you to get things better and better. That maybe later in the game, but even then, this shit is available to you so early in the game, and it's literally the first few minutes of the game tell you why that is, and it's just up to you to get to the areas that you need to get to grab those items. So
It's like a spoiler. I created a lever, or I created like a fulcrum,
Yeah.
and
yeah, and so how it works. The main thing to note is that number one, again, you have a lot of creative opportunities because you have these main powers that's Ultra Hand, Fuse, Recall, and Ascend, which is not really creative, but sometimes you forget you have it. You do have these 4 different powers that are the main thing. Ascend allows you to basically just go directly above you. If there's a it doesn't even have to be a roof. That's the ridiculous part. If there's something above you that's part of the environment, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to go directly up with the Ascend power and escape out of the top of that thing. It's not even. This is the ridiculous thing. It doesn't even have to be like the land. You can actually create something and then ascend to get to the top of it. It's ridiculous. There are limits in the game, but like, where are they?
yeah, right.
It literally tells you, because whenever you choose the ascend power, all you have to do is look up and you see a little circle and then a grid around it, and it's either green if you can do it or red if you can't. That's it. And then the recall ability is a lot like, I forget what it was called. The time ability in Breath of the Wild, stasis. Recall is like stasis, but it's also not. Recall literally will stop the entirety of the world, and you can choose with the right stick.
And no big deal. No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal at all. You can choose with the right stick what thing in the environment you actually want to specifically rewind. And so many options are there. But
I watched Mr. Jerp in Discord. He was streaming it earlier, and he was solving some puzzles in some wacky ways, which is, I didn't have to watch him long at all to just see some weird. I saw some cool stuff, and then I very much saw some accidental, like, duct tape, bootstrap, solutions. But the way that the recall worked was like the movie Donnie Darko. It was like just like that, right? You could see the path that it has taken. And you can rewind it as much as you would like. He was throwing a rock at a piece of ore. So here's just another example. The most basic thing. He said that he had built some sort of weapon with a rock on the end that he was using to mine in some area that he was in. And then when it eventually broke, there weren't any rocks around for him to repair it. So he was just mentioning that was something that happened before I started watching him. So then when he found a new chunk of ore, wherever he was in this cave, he just found a big rock and he just threw it at the ore to mine it. And he would throw it and he wouldn't even move. He would just recall the rock and grab it again and throw it. And he just kept doing that. But what was funny was eventually he rewound too much and the rock came flying back and damaged him, like knocked him over, and he was just like, okay, I'm actually gonna stand over here the next time I recall this.
On strike.
It was pretty funny. Yeah, that's good.
It's so much like funny things that you could do with the recall. I saw a tweet video that was like, someone was facing, what are the big cyclopean things?
Hinox, yeah.
The Hinox. Okay, so someone was facing one of those, and he had made a hammer. And I'm saying it like that because it definitely doesn't look like anything else. It's definitely a hammer with, a handle and 2 rocks on it that make up the hammerhead.
As you do.
And no other shape. So he's using this hammer to fight the Hinox by, like, he'll first move it around with, like, the movement ability. So he'll move it through the air, just some weird pattern, just coiling it through the air. And then he recalls it. So what happens is, the hammer is all swinging around in the air, being a hammer. Yeah, and the Hinox is just walking into it, just like, and he just defeats it, like, by doing that.
It took less than 30 seconds. That's the funny thing. And then the fact that because it was a hammer, it basically looked like he was using Mjolnir to do it. Because cool. It was just traveling in the air and then eventually just fell down when the Hinox was dead. It was ridiculous. Like, that's one of my favorite clips, for sure, that I've seen. And that was, way outside of the box. That was not something that I would have thought of. Because you think, okay, video game, there are limits. But, like,
where are they?
Seriously, where are they? The fuse ability, which I actually haven't used all that much, comparatively, just, like, it's there for sure. But the fuse ability allows you to fuse just about anything together, as far as the items that you have in your inventory. So the coolest thing, and what actually is what are in most of the videos, is Zonai devices. Zonai devices are very specific, basically relics of this previous civilization, that are extremely high tech in different ways. Like, one of the most popular ones is this little I forget if it's supposed to be a tiger or a lizard, but this little head that just it's like a few inches tall, and these Zonai devices, whenever you hit them, they activate, and you have this energy that you have throughout the game, and it just depletes energy whenever it's being used. But if you
if I can ask real quick, I keep seeing these bars. They're in chunks of 3. That's that's this week that you're talking about.
That's the Zonai energy that you have, and whenever you see the videos that are ridiculous and they have like a dozen of those bars. Number one, almost all of them are Japanese accounts. Number two, it's people that have played it or modded the hell out of it. Like they've had the leaks. Like there's basically no way to have had that many resources since release of the game. Just an FYI. But yeah, the wild ones.
So they found the limits and they said, "Nah, Doug."
Yeah, those videos are ridiculous and they're not technically attainable. Maybe maybe in a few days they'll be like you'll be able to have enough resources, but like
I think you underestimate some gamers' power.
technically, and I've trust me, I sat there for like an hour just being like, how did they? But it would be no.
Well, so how
it's
does
like working out the math of it.
how does the bar go up to fill that? How do you increase your maximum? Is it an item you pick up?
Yeah, you actually do have to physically mine resources, and then you basically trade them up to get these very specific charges to increase your levels of Zonite energy. But like
Gosh.
to have that much,
really
I have
tedious.
no idea. It would be a lot of time.
Yeah.
There are
I mean,
because
they've
you
turned
actually
Breath of the Wild into a survival, like not a survival game, but a survival building game, because they already added the survival elements with the food, which is great. You have the traversal with maximum stamina bars, where it's really, how bold do you want to be? Is it raining? Can you climb that mountain? But then like with all of this, like they just keep adding all of these things that are blending genres in a scope that I don't think I've seen any other game do. I mean, Skyrim has cool stuff in it and it's huge, but when you compare this to the stuff you're talking about, Milos, well, you couldn't have made this game 10 or 15 years ago, without a doubt. I mean, maybe that's an obvious thing to say, but the fact that the game even runs and doesn't just break every single time you do anything is astonishing to me.
It's absolutely wild.
That raises a question for me though, like about this like past civilization and the energy and stuff. So as far as we know, Hyrule, it was like the first, they were like the native people, right? So is this a colonization story? Like,
okay, so
is
it's not a
Hyrule like an
spoiler,
Indian
all right?
burial ground? Like, what's going on here?
It's not a spoiler, and so I don't know the end game of the actual narrative, but literally the first part of the exact beginning of the game is you and Zelda investigating these ruins and finding these hieroglyphs of that are actually explaining the calamity, and way before the calamity, because calamity is when Ganon actually took over with the Guardians and all that, but way before that was the original rulers that established Hyrule, and they
like
were
the first peoples.
They were kind of gods and kind of aliens, but also they were just a different race than what Hyrulean people are right now.
You'd say they were built different.
They were literally built different, but at the same time, it's not taking over of a civilization. It was that particular civilization died out in some way.
Okay, look, the genocide happened, and we just moved in here right after it happened.
Hey, listen, shark people and bird people are still here, so like.
There are shark people?
Fine.
I knew there were
bird
people.
the Zoras, and then
sure. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if the society died out and then Ganondorf came over here looking like that, I'd be like, yeah, rule me. Yeah, I got you. What you need? What's going on? God. You need the feet rub? What's going on?
That's going to be a job, like in itself.
When he took over, they were like, "Oh, he Rulian."
God damn it!
It's a stretch, but
Odysseus, get the thing in there.
Man,
get the counter.
I wish I could recall that joke.
Oh my gosh! It's ascending.
This isn't even my final form.
So the Zonai devices. We're gonna get back to those eventually.
Circle back up. Something you can never do when you're playing the game.
Yeah.
Nothing but side quests and building.
Yes. So the Zonai devices, they take energy. We got that part across, right? So like the thing I was mentioning first was this little tiger and or lizard thing. When you hit it, it breathes like a 10 or 12 foot stream of fire, right? Incredibly useful. You can actually fuse it to a shield, and it's like the best thing in the game.
Hell yeah.
Because all you got to do is use your L button to bring up your shield, and the flame actually just starts. And there are particular enemies in the game that that is specifically made for, and it will screw them up every time, regardless of of the situation.
It's a light arrow.
Yeah.
You know, you craft your own light arrows in a basement. You know, it's like moonshine. It'll strip the evil right off those enemies. You know.
Exactly. It's amazing what kind of things are available here, though. But that's again the fuse ability. You can put particular creature eyes. There's regular key size, but I forget if it's a gold keys eye. There's another particular eye. Maybe it's a Hinox eye that you can actually fuse to arrows, and they can hone in different ways. So there's one that's like very powerful, one that hones a little bit, and one that hones in like perfectly. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do like that. Like, who doesn't like honing arrows? You just shoot wherever the hell, and it will get to the enemy.
This
yes.
one
Ancient
simple
aimbot.
trick. Yeah.
Yes. And then the Ultra Hand ability is the one that makes everything work. It makes all of the building possible. The Ultra Hand is the most fun shit in this game because, as we know, the Zonai devices, there are a ton of different things that you can do. So, for example, most people use fans. There are fans that you can use. There's a glider thing. It's just like a platform, so as long as you are in a spot where you can put it like on the edge of a tall spot, you can put the Zonai device down and jump on it and cause it to fall off of whatever you're on, and it'll be a really cool glider, and you literally just move on different parts of it, and it will drive it in different ways.
That's so cool.
One of the Zonai devices is actually a controller that will drive a vehicle that you make. So you can literally put it on anything that has Zonai devices on it. You can literally grab random planks in the world, put wheels on them, put the steering column on it, and it's all of a sudden a drivable vehicle.
I love
And
that.
That's how the mongoose from Halo was made.
Yes. And they actually give you a few of them down in the chasms. I eventually found mines. And they actually have mining machines that you can drive down there. And among other things, there's spots that are like ritual. It looks like a ritual spot or like a lab, an ancient lab. And they're full of bombs. They're full of rockets. Sometimes full of lasers that you can just add to any random vehicle, and they are AI-powered lasers that will shoot everything in their path.
Wow, and they don't even need Link as a
Everything?
pilot.
So including the player?
Except for the player. So,
Oh, that's sad.
Wow.
but
Because that would be some like really funny clips. Just like, oh, look, there's an item over there. Let me just walk in front of my car to go, ah!
Betrayal.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, you will kill yourself with a Zonai device in some way. Like the rockets are wild because they're like 2 feet tall or so. If you put it on at the wrong angle, because the Ultra Hand actually has very specific angles that you can use. So you can rotate things left and right or vertically, but at the same time, if you're doing it too quickly and put something on at just the wrong angle and attach a rocket to it, you'll just go.
That's that.
And it's wild. My favorite story of using Ultra Hand trying to get things done is the Koroks in this game. There are plenty of regular Koroks, and I hope there's not that many, but there's probably just as many as there were in the first game. But a lot of Koroks are specific that they have this gigantic backpack thing on, and they have to meet their friend who is camping like in the distance. And there's always something around them to use the Ultra Hand with to create something to get them to where they need to be. In theory, some of them are easy enough, and you can actually just use Ultra Hand to pick them up by the backpack and walk over there, which is just really funny, but it's slow. A lot of the times, there is enough stuff next to them that you can create a wagon, throw them in there, and then just take them over. But
and then stick a rocket in there.
Yes, we're gonna get to that. And then the one that I had particular trouble with was before I'd really gotten into it. I'd played like 5 hours maximum. I had just gotten Ultra Hand stuff, by the way. Again, I was very slow to doing what's needed to get the powers initially. But if you get the powers right away, you actually can do that in the first couple hours of the game. So
Nice.
Just know that. I literally just had to cross a river about 400 feet, maybe. In theory, very easy, right? But it gave me like a large plank of wood, like 6x4 or something like that, a plank of wood and a couple fans. And this is a river, but the river is actually kind of strong. So they also gave a sail. And I was like, I can do this, whatever. And again, I was not used to the Ultra Hand yet. And so I did start off by putting this little raft together, but I had accidentally put one of the fans the opposite direction.
Oh, good.
Because you have to know which direction the wind is going to push. And so that means I not only had one of my fans going in the wrong direction, I had 2 fans set up on the back of this raft.
Okay.
I had one going the wrong direction, and it was slightly askew.
Good.
So
I'm hiring you for my next engineering project.
Yes. Once I got it onto the water, the thing is that you don't want to accidentally like make the Zonai device start, and then you're not on the thing that you're using, and it goes too fast. I fucked up. So I got it started. I ran. I swung my sword, and I hopped on it, and we just started going downriver. So fast, so much faster than I thought would have been possible. So I was immediately like 700 or 800 feet downriver from where I needed to be.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and through a massive combination of turning off the devices and letting the river just run. Again, it was strong, and I was down current, so it was going to be an uphill battle from there. But I kept switching the fans around different ways, and I had to hit the sail in a multitude of angles to try to get it moving the right direction. I would move the fucking Korok because physics is actually very close to real in this game. Moving this fat Korok because they are heavy, different sides of the raft, so I could get the weight distribution better. And by the time I had gone through many variations while on the raft and floating downriver, I ended up falling off of the raft because of a goddamn Octorok.
Dang it, Octorok.
And because of the stamina that I had at the time, again, very early in the game, I absolutely could not get back to the raft. So you pass out on the bank, and I was... So he ended up getting stuck a solid 1.5 miles downriver of where I needed to be.
Good.
And he was stuck under a bridge, which is fantastic.
Yeah, he lives there now.
And I could not get to the bridge with the amount of stamina that I had. So I literally had to go play the game.
Not despawn or something?
That's the thing. I had to go play the game for about an hour and then come back, and finally I saw him disappear.
Get another shot. Oh.
An hour. I literally had to just book it across the map and then come back, and he despawned and got to where he needed to be. But I did find the shit on the bank way farther because it'll spawn the stuff back, but a lot of what you create actually stays wherever.
Right.
It takes a long time for it to actually despawn. And it's just so funny. I thought I had it right to begin with, and I didn't. But it's one of those things you have to learn the realities of the situation. But it does give you so many ridiculous options on your creativity to do anything. And with the Koroks, I love them, but it's a whole meme now that you're just doing horrible things to Koroks and Tears of the Kingdom. That's the entire point of the game now. There there are immolation machines, crucifixions abound. If you want it, it's there on Twitter. It's actually pretty amazing. Somebody gathered like 8 or 9 Koroks, put them together on a pole, and they made it look like a barbecue spit, and it's rotating.
Lol. Wow.
And it's actually like working, rotating. They're like,
this is actually what happened to the first people. It's
yes.
just the records aren't very well taken care of.
That's the calamity. No.
Yeah. There are pneumatic machines that people have made, like actually pumping things. The monstrosity of the giant man with the fire dick was the sequel to that. Yeah.
He sounds like a contact I need to
know. So the man that was created, this wood man with the fire penis, which by the way is the dragon lizard head thing that I was mentioning. There was a sequel to that one.
Write that down. Somebody write that down.
Yeah. There's a sequel to that creation, and that was it looks more like a lady, quote unquote. And they've got bent legs and wheels, and there's instead water coming out, and it's just like, what are y'all doing? It's a whole thing. It's ridiculous.
Why do people sometimes? Like, I just
yeah. It's ridiculous, but it's really funny. Like, Twitter is a great place right now to just see a whole lot of dumb shit. People are really going at it like this is Little Big Planet levels of creativity that's out there. I can't even imagine. Like, this is the first week of the game being out.
Yeah,
over 10 million people have it. By the way, sales of the first 3 days were released. That it was over 10 million in just the first 3 days.
Wow.
Sales of the kingdom, you know.
I want to see someone recreate like one of the dragons, one of the 3 dragons that are roaming around, but completely out of, what is it, Zonai?
Yeah.
Just like devices, just mechanical Rayquaza going through the sky. Like.
Yep.
Yeah. So the there's a lot of Macross jokes on it, but the specific device that was created that Tegan was talking about, number one, whoever made that video again had unlimited resources, like unlimited, because they had at least 4 to 6 lasers on this thing, rockets that actually fired rockets, and
yeah, that's normal. That's a Hyrulean.
They're literally steering through the sky, complete control of this vehicle. It basically looks like they made a Robotech in the fucking game. And they can almost one-shot some of the massive monsters that are in this game. There's a creature, at least one creature that is an actual Ghidorah, a 3-headed dragon thing that's running around there, and there's a video of it getting taken down in like 10 seconds.
Rip.
And it's clearly one of the toughest things in the game.
Well,
it's wild.
Violet, I hope to hear a lot more about this as we keep playing, because not only is the internet going to churn out lots of wonderful, horrible content with Tears of the Kingdom, but I know you'll be playing it too. We got a bunch of people in the community playing it, and I mean, I'll pick it up sooner or later. If I don't have my hands on it, then I'll be watching my partner play it. But we can't talk about Tears of the Kingdom forever because,
unfortunately,
that conversation knows no limits. So we got to make our own. So, Sav, let's rotate over to you before I end up talking about the game we're going to play afterwards, which is Scribblenauts. We dug that one up because we were like, normally, sometimes we have a topic, and then we just play something, whatever we're feeling, party game, or maybe, whatever's hot. But this week, I'm excited that we'll have something that's relevant. And, Sav, remind me to talk about Rayquaza again when we swing back to that, because you said Rayquaza, it's relevant. All right, so we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Yeah. It was perfect that you said that. Yeah. But let's see. The one you have written here is another game that I hadn't played, but I follow people. So none of us have it on this list, but Hitman was a game that I didn't care about until I watched Giant Bomb, or I listened to Giant Bomb talk about it for months, months and months and months of how similar to this conversation, you can just solve problems in so many ways. And I didn't care about the game. I mean, I just didn't care about the Hitman franchise until they just kept talking about all these things, explaining the ways that they discovered and challenged each other to all of these wacko situations until I was like, okay, I'll finally give this a chance, and I'm so glad I did because it's very open ended. But another game that I didn't care about until they talked about it for months and months was Super Mario Maker 2 that you have here. If it wasn't for them, I would know nothing about it. But it certainly sounds like another game that the limits are really just they're not the game's limits, right? It's what can you imagine?
Right.
What can you create?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right, the nail right on the head. Uh, the stuff that people can make in that game is truly, truly outrageous. And I'm glad that Nintendo saw that there was like a market for this kind of venture because, we were talking about Grand Pooh Bear in the chat earlier, and he is like known for like Mario speedruns of like the Kaizo variety. And so for the uninformed and the uninitiated, Kaizo games are heavily modded games to make them like super mega technical and difficult. And people speedrun those. And so I think that Super Mario Maker 2 was inspired by this like Mario movement. It was commonly done in Super Mario World, but I think there are other like mods and stuff of like Kaizo mods of other Mario games too. But people would just go in and they would augment the game using the game's own tools. So they would change the terrain, the colors, the layers, the backgrounds, the mechanics, all with the game's own tools. And, instead of doing the Nintendo thing and like ceasing and desisting it, unless they did and people just didn't care, then they came out with the Mario Maker franchise. And it is so good. The first one is actually I'm on the fence because I think that the first one is better than the second one, and that I think that's just because the amiibo outfits that you could put on. Like you could be Wii Fit Trainer, you could be Hatsune Miku. Like what? You could
Oh,
be Hello
really?
Kitty. Yeah, yeah. You could be all these different characters. You could be like Long Mario.
Long Mario?
Long Mario. He's just Mario, like Sprite Mario, but like super duper elongated and tall. And
Eldritch.
his like jumping sound is like distorted and stuff. But
Oh,
those don't
spooky.
return in Super Mario Maker 2, which is kind of disappointing. Yeah, no, it's the worst it did. But still, mechanically speaking, that game has allowed people to continue their tirade of just outlandish levels, and it's so good because you can kind of see what you are expecting to do in the Maker game by just playing through the game's story mode, and also there are like pre-made levels by Nintendo that you could just kind of like get an idea of what you can do. And Nintendo does like to do that to teach players how to use their stuff. Like in Nintendo Land, that was designed to basically teach players kind of what to expect on the Wii U as far as the mechanics go. And even their first level ever was designed to teach you as you play. You see the Goomba. Oh, how do I avoid the Goomba? Oh, I have to jump. You can't go left. That's the first thing it teaches you, etc. So in typical Nintendo fashion, it uses the story mode and like it's pre-made levels to teach you about some of the stuff that you can do in the game to really make it your own. And then you can just go into the level maker and have at it. Just do whatever you want. And well, not whatever you want. There are some limitations. There are sprite limitations, so you can only have a certain amount of anything on the screen. But that hasn't stopped people from just chucking whatever they want to at the level. There will
Right.
be some levels where you're just running through enemies and enemies and enemies, and it's like 7 different copies of all the Koopalings. So that's 49 of them. And then like Bowser and Meowser and Dry Bowser just throwing fireballs and chucking projectiles at you. And that's a real level. That's a level that you can make, you know. And that's just like a pretty ordinary rundown of the kind of stuff that you can expect. Some of them that I've seen are like super funny troll levels. Like one that comes to mind is somebody remade 1-1 in Super Mario Bros. On the NES, and it was just titled like 1-1 smiley face. That was the title. And I was like, oh, that sounds ominous. But you open up the level and it's just Super Mario Brothers 1, And the setup's the same. You hit the first block, there's a coin. Okay, nothing. I mean, it's pretty innocuous. It's cool. The second block, it's a mushroom. Okay, that's fine. And then you continue along level to where the first Goomba should be, and it's a bullet bill. And so you're like getting the coins and stuff, and you hear kadoom, and the bullet bill comes across, and then you're recovering from getting the second coin, so you can't jump, and the bullet bill hits you. It's so perfect.
Yeah.
So trolley levels like that are really fun. But then the more creative stuff that I've seen is people recreating levels from other games in like the Mario engine. I saw somebody recreate the what's it called? Oh gosh, I know the name of the theme song of the level from Donkey Kong Country 2 is Sticker Bush Symphony. What is it called? Oh my gosh, Bramble Blast, Bramble Blast. Somebody remade that level, the infamous level from Donkey Kong Country 2, where you're like going through the thorny vines and stuff on the parrot. Somebody made that in Super Mario Maker 2.
That's awesome.
And I thought that was just like really cool. And of course, with like the new Legend of Zelda update where you can be Link and use all of his tools and stuff, people have been recreating the Legend of Zelda levels, like the side scroller ones. Some of them have been reimagining original Zelda levels. What I wanted to do when I got the game, which I never got around to, was recreate Sonic levels, like original Genesis Sonic levels with the engine. I think that would be really cool. The first one that I wanted to make was Scrap Brain Zone, because that was the first thing that came to mind when I saw what you could do when this game first came out. But as long as you know how all of the enemies work, how the power-ups work, if you have like basic platforming know-how, you can really, really do a lot with this game, and it makes me so happy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, there's so much to enjoy here. I think if it wasn't you, then it was our friend Scary Gary in Kent City who brought Super Mario Maker to one of our weekly meetups or monthly meetups. I at that point was already pretty late to the game, so I had missed the opportunity, and I didn't have anybody. Like, it seems like this was the kind of game like what Giant Bomb did, where they would each make a level and then challenge the other person. They'd send it to the person and see if they could beat it. And there are varying levels of masochism involved there. But I feel like I really could have loved this if I had had somebody to share it with. Because while this is good to just like play random stuff on the internet to see the wild things that people have created, there's also this novelty because everything is based on your own creativity. There's this novelty of like, if you swapped with your friend, you could see something and just be like, holy cow, how did you come up with this? Or how in the world did you get this to actually work correctly? Or the other level of like somebody designing something, but then you being able to poke a hole in it and just completely cheesing it and not doing it the way they intended at all. Manipulating something that they never thought was possible, but you figured it out. That stuff's just, a bundle of fun. I wish I had a chance to be on that bandwagon while that was still really hot. But I mean, shoot, if you guys, I think I still own that on the Switch. So if you guys ever wanted to just, hurt each other's feelings and give each other terrible levels. The thing is, I remember you can only post a level if it's completable. So if you post something that's impossible, at least you have to be able to beat it once before you can put it online. So you can't just put a bunch of stuff on there that doesn't work. That's unbeatable.
There actually used to be a bunch of levels that became unbeatable because they would use like an exploit in the game's like mechanics to where you would have to like frame perfect something or like do something like that. But then Nintendo would patch the game and, render that exploit inoperable. And so if you were doing like the random level runs and stuff, you would come across an unbeatable level sometimes because it will have been affected by the glitch repair, and the mechanic that you were supposed to exploit is no longer exploitable. So then you would just be stuck there and your run would come to an end.
And frame perfect literally means frame perfect.
Frame pixel perfect. The utmost technicality. And then another thing is that it's funny that you say you can see like, how did you do this? How did you make this? In Super Mario Maker 1, you could actually go through a level, like go to the menu and like look at how the level was made. So you could actually you have to complete the level first, I think. But after you complete the level, you can go back to it and you can open up the blueprints and see how they place everything and break down how everything works. Like you can
I
literally
didn't know
open it
that.
up in your level creator
That's
and
awesome.
do that. But you can't do that in the second one.
Oh, well, we had
Yeah.
some fun, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe next
So
time.
that's unfortunate. But it's still fun. You know, there are some elements of the first one that didn't quite make it over to the second one for whatever reason. And I remember that being one of the drawbacks of the community's complaint, like that the community complained about like the loudest was that, you know, that.
Yeah.
But the different types of levels that you can make, like the ordinary levels, the troll levels, you can make multiplayer levels. People make multiplayer levels where it's like racing, like course racing. People make like teaching levels to teach you mechanics better. So like shell jumping mechanics, frame perfect mastering, pixel perfect mastering. So educational levels.
Yoshi
It's
killing.
really up to the creator to decide what they want to do.
Excellent. Well, yeah, that's a game that keeps on giving, you know, a gift that keeps on giving. I wish I was still hearing more about it, you know, just like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I feel like that has almost an unlimited amount of content within it. People just have
As
to
long
make
as they update it. I
Yeah.
feel the same way about like Animal Crossing New Horizons, where it's like it had so much potential, and they're just like, yeah, I mean, no, we're not gonna do anything with that. So there's that. Like Pocket Camp is better, the mobile game, and that's based on like an energy like bank. You know, you
Yeah.
can't play that forever like you can New Horizons.
Let's see. Benson was asking in chat where the Tears of the Kingdom thread was in our Discord. Benson, I just added you, but anybody, you can find that in our What We've Been Playing channel on our Discord. It's poppin', and threads are a beautiful way to talk about games while navigating spoilers. So for anybody out there who's trying to get their Zelda fix in the long term, check that out. And if you need any help, just tag me, Tegan, or DM me on Discord.
Be sure that if you are sharing those threads, we need to see all the videos and imageries of Fireman and Water Woman. So
a classic, tale as old as time. Those two, you know. Let's see. So that's Super Mario Maker 2. I showed the video for this one. Next up, Sav, you've got Baba Is You in here.
Yeah,
That's one that tickled me. I had it recommended maybe by Benson actually. Now that I am saying his name. Yeah. Well, I already kind of introduced Super Mario Maker. You got this. Tell us about Baba Is You.
Well, it's funny you say that because the reason I thought of this is because like it like tickles your brain in a way like that coding would or programming. That's what really like drew me into it. Like I've never played it personally, but I've watched other people play and do some like ridiculous things with like the engine that the game offers. So for those who don't know, Baba Is You is like made. It's an indie game. It's pretty simple looking, as you can see here on the screen. But the goal is really easy. You, Baba, who's like this sheep thing. I'm not really sure what it is, but you have to make
Baba
it to
Is
the
You.
goal. Get to the flag, right? And it's called Baba Is You because that is like you are Baba, right? And so you can arrange those words. So like maybe you could say you are door, you are wall, or whatever. And you push the words around. They're little blocks that you can arrange in any fashion that you want. And then whatever it says happens, you know? So that's why I was just like, oh yeah, it's kind of like programming or coding or anything like that.
Yeah,
It's
because
like
you'd be like, stone
like if
is
this,
push.
then this.
Right. So you've got the order of operations, and they changed how the rules work. And it's, you can change the prefix or the suffix. So there are weird ways that you can combine things. Baba is you, because you are Baba. So you control all of this. But then, if you change it to, if there are like multiple ones there, you can change like, Baba is you. Baba is stone. So like now you are every single stone on the whole entire map. So instead of the little sheep Baba getting to the objective flag, you are now all of the stones in the whole map. So you just shift all of the stones onto the flag and you win. And there are these wonderful eureka moments where you're just like, holy cow, I can't believe that worked. Because sometimes it's not clear if that's what they intended for you to do. But the fact that they left it open means, yeah, they kind of did intend that. It's the same with Zelda, right? It's like,
Right.
did they mean to allow us to build mechs? Well, they sure are mech friendly, so it seems like it. You know, it seems like this vehicle. I put a steering wheel on it, and suddenly it's drivable. I'm not sure if that's how real cars work, but you know, somebody
Thanks,
put it in
First
there.
Peoples, for providing us with this technology that we're definitely not, gentrifying and colonizing. Thank you.
Right.
But no, that's one of the reasons like I put it on this list is because that very reason. It's so sandboxy and how you can approach getting to the goal. And the ways that you can do that are just so zany. And sometimes it's like super simple. Like sometimes you could just say, like, go around a wall or something like that.
Mhm.
Sometimes, like you said, becoming the stones, you can become the wall and
Right.
then just do like move to the flag and things like that. So it's
Or it's like, I saw one, I accidentally made it Baba is flag. So it was like, normally it says win it is flag, or like flag is win. But I changed it and I was like, Baba is flag. But there was no win condition. And I was just like, wait, now what do I do? I'm the flag. What do I... It's great. Yeah, it tickles that coding part of your brain. I played this on Switch. It is a great handheld game. Perfect for little short sessions because each level can take anywhere between 30 seconds and 5 minutes depending on how quick you are. But highly recommend. Sav, you should play it. It's just as good as it looks.
See, I want to. It's so intimidating because like there are so many things that you could do. I get like hit with analysis paralysis,
Yeah,
and then I can't decide what I want to do, and then I just end up not doing anything at all.
I hear that.
It's kind of the same reason I didn't play like Super Mario Maker 2 as much as I wanted to. Like I threw out the story, but then as soon as it came to like actually making the level, I was just like,
I'm overwhelmed.
like
Totally. Yeah, because when I joined, I was like, I don't have the patience to deep dive into this. I only want to play other people's creations at that point.
What you can do in Baba is you now because there is a stage maker, and people, of course, are going to be as relentless in that as they are in Mario Maker 2. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. You're dealing with the people who make the traditional levels, the simple levels, the troll levels, and the zany levels. So, I don't know if it's on Game Pass or not, but if it's not, it should be because that game is just like such a treasure. And even though I never played it myself, I've consumed so much like media around it, just seeing how people do what they do and what they've been doing, like approaching the same level in different ways that I feel like I have,
Yeah.
by proxy, like vicariously. So highly
That's the good
recommend.
stuff. Well, that's Baba is You. That is very similar to Scribblenauts, which was the game, a game that I was reminded exists last night. Vilos and I were watching the JK Games podcast channel. You should check them out. They're podcasters just like us. And a similar format even, so we get to hear a little bit more news-oriented stuff than we usually do over here. We'll give them a shout-out in chat. You should go follow them. But Scribblenauts is a game I haven't thought about in years, just like your situation, Sav. I have never played Scribblenauts. I've only watched it. My brother played whichever one I saw him play years ago, I mean a decade ago, on the 3DS. And this is a game where the way, everything in Baba is You is coding. So it's all subject, qualifier, I guess, qualifier, and then a suffix. In Scribblenauts, the whole point of the game is that you have objectives to try to achieve. But what you do is you type words into a bar. Your character Maxwell he has a magical notebook, and anything he writes in it appears. It summons it. It's suddenly there in real life, and all of these things that you can summon have real qualities. So that not only are they illustrated, so like if you summon a pig, it looks like a pig. If you summon a car, then it's a car. But you have adjectives as well, so you can say it's a fast car, or it's a radioactive car, or it's an explosive car. There are just so many things it could be, but you can solve just about any problem in any way. Let me get the launch trailer going here. It's just, this was the first game before Mario Maker, before Breath of the Wild. This was the first game I ever saw where I was like, wow, I don't know where the limits are. So there are so many zany things, and we are going to play this after the show here, so stick around. We'll get to do stuff together. And also, I would love to have submissions from everyone on weird ways to solve these problems. But like one of the things they use in this video is like, you're looking for truffles, and so you write a pig because pigs in real life smell truffles and dig for them. So you can use that to find these mushrooms, or you could do different other things. But a really goofy thing when I was poking around YouTube today to basically I inspired myself to buy the game outright tonight. I was so excited by this topic that I was like, I'm just gonna play it. I'm just gonna get it. I'm looking around, and a YouTuber was explaining that the objectives of the game change based on what level you're in, and when you complete those objectives, you get stars. So you need X amount of stars, to win the level. So he, like so many people, he was like, well, what if I just summon a star? And so he did summon a star, but it summons a star, not the star that you need. So that didn't work. But you could write win button, WIN button, and it would summon a button that if your character presses it, you just win the level. Are you kidding me? But the limits are really fun to find because you can summon pretty much anything at any time. So I've seen people summon Cthulhu, who of course will just mutilate everybody. You can summon, ninjas. You can summon
That actually impresses me because like
polar bears.
Cthulhu's difficult to spell. So like, I mean, this game is dependent on being able to spell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to like know where to put the apostrophe, like.
Right. So this game really depends on your on how clever you can be and your vocabulary. Because like the thing with the when you're looking for the truffles, it depends on you knowing that pigs dig for truffles. If you don't know that, then you've got to find some other solution. And so it gives you so many ways to solve the problem that the idea isn't for you to need to have some encyclopedic knowledge of the world. It is just that you need to be clever and patient enough to be able to find a solution to whatever's in front of you, no matter how non-linear that might be. But similar to Baba Is You and similar to everything we've talked about so far, it essentially rewards you for being clever. Like as a player, what can you dream up? Let's see if it works. And they've created such a sandbox that you can summon just a staggering number of things that they took the time. I mean, it seems like they basically picked up the dictionary and they were like, we're just going to illustrate everything. I hope the artist just got paid so much money for that game. I don't know. Probably not. I mean, the game, the game that we're going to play tonight, Scribblenauts Unlimited, is from 2012. It's the most recent game. Will they make another? I don't know. I sure hope so. But I'm excited to go to that because really it's like, there's a No Sleep Story. Anybody who's been around for long enough knows I love the No Sleep podcast. It's a spooky horror anthology podcast. And in one of their season finales, they have an episode where these characters, the people, get stuck in this haunted library, basically. And this like demon that is occupying this library can he can take the form of anything that someone has imagined. So he's in a library, so he can become Robin Hood. He can become, the Dark Knight. He can become anything that's in this library. And so like the spoiler that nobody's going to care about is that he wants to get out of the library and get connected to the internet so that he can just, become anything. And so, of course, they have to try to stop him and stuff. But Scribblenauts just reminds me of that because it says if you can imagine it, then it will become reality in front of you. And it doesn't really define what those limits are. It expects you to go and find them yourself. And that's what this topic is all about, right? Like just having the room as the player to play your way and to get that special sense of reward that you get knowing that you came up with that and that it worked. The thrill that the developers made it made it possible that you could solve it that way. Violet, you're talking about all those artifacts to be able to throw a steering wheel on there. I mean, in the Scribblenauts trailer, if it wasn't this one, then it was another one I watched today. It was like, this vehicle isn't working. What are you going to do? And one way or another, it seems like you're supposed to summon a steering wheel to give to the play the like characters, the NPCs that are in there, so that they can drive. But the person in the video makes it an exploding steering wheel, so it just blows up the whole car as soon as it touches the ground. But somehow that solves the puzzle. It's like you did it, So I'm really excited to do that. I tell you what, before as we wrap this up though, and get going towards Scribblenauts, Vilos, I never played any of the videos that you sent me for Tears of the Kingdom. So if you tell me, I can just start playing them so people can see these.
I realize
Do they
that.
do they explain the connection with the dragon, the Rayquaza?
No,
Oh.
the videos that are in there are actually just the videos that I did myself. They're nothing special.
Okay. So what was the deal with Rayquaza?
Okay, the thing with Rayquaza is you can summon Rayquaza in Scribblenauts. Are you serious right now? Like, you can summon Cthulhu, you can summon a bunch of Pokemon. In the old 3DS games, I found out that you could summon a bunch of Mario characters, but not anymore because on PC you're not on a Nintendo thing,
Right.
and Nintendo doesn't own Pokemon, so you can still do Pokemon for some reason.
Because the Pokemon is overseen by the Pokemon Company now.
Well, right,
so
but
they're their own entity.
I would still expect them to be like, hey, maybe don't put Rayquaza in your Scribblenauts game. But I guess they didn't care because it's definitely not secret knowledge that that's a thing. People have also modded the game to just, to remove any limits that you could have possibly found. But yeah, when I saw that Rayquaza was in there, I was like, are you serious? They had to draw this and animate it and give it characteristics. Like, how aggressive is it going to be? How does it fly? All of these things. So we'll see when we get in there if we can summon Rayquaza ourselves. But when I saw that, I was just like, you're kidding me right now. Right?
If Rayquaza can be summoned, then that means we can summon Groudon and Kyogre and reenact the whole Continental War.
Okay, well, we'll put that in your pocket for now. We're gonna see if we can make that work. If you remind me, if you can tell me how to spell those names, I will try to get those
that's easy, yeah.
in on stream. So hell yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's fair.
Let's see, but let's play some of these videos that you've got. I titled them myself, so I'm gonna play.
Great, yeah. Just play one, and it'll be pretty self-explanatory.
Hell yeah. This is the good stuff. What are we looking at?
Okay, yeah. So these aren't hilarious. I'm so sorry.
What?
But this one right here, you see the little fire thing that I was talking about, and you see one of the batteries just fell apart and dissolved. The other battery is strong and going, but you literally also have these hot air balloons that are available across the world at different points. And this particular spot, it's just meant for you to go really high, and you're able to hop onto this new platform. Because you'll see this thing behind me. It's this giant fish-shaped landmass that is leading to a potential story bit with Sidon's whole story arc here. So,
Sidon.
For those of you that like Sidon, yeah, I mean, technically that was video of him. He was very far down below. But yeah.
Stop! Get out your binocs.
He can't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get the binoculars out. He's in there somewhere.
I like seafood.
We got this one here that looks like a spring. Well, I thought it was a spring when I first looked at it.
Yeah. So
it's
this
definitely
item is amazing. It is a spring, and so you have to hit it to shrink it back down, and then you hit it again for it to actually activate. This is one of my totally not fails. So
hell yeah.
As you can see, I opened the door, did what I was supposed to do.
You said these were funny.
Yeah.
Oh, so, that's a big rip.
I didn't even think about the fact that the cutscene would play and it would I would still fall. I didn't think that would be the case, so I couldn't.
Especially the camera didn't come back in time.
Yeah, I died of hitting the ground from that distance, because what I was waiting on was for a ball to land in the little hole down there, and so it did it while I was in the air. I was just going to glide across the spot there, and it did not let me.
Wow, that's
so that one was
too
fun.
Much. And then the last one you got here, you're on some sort of watercraft. Let's check this out.
See, I don't remember if this one was part of my unfortunate Korok or not. Okay, no, this one was actually a good one.
That's a cute little raft.
Yeah, this is
a shame if you went a mile and a half downstream.
Yeah, And so that one has the steering wheel that I was talking about. It has the steering wheel, and this was a Korok that I just had to get across this muddy river, so to speak, or muddy lake. And you literally just you shake him off of the thing, put him next to his friend, and that's the Korok adventure. That's all it is. But sometimes you do have to get creative. I had to put a fan on the back of a piece of wood and put the pieces of wood together to make this raft, and it was just basically an airboat.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so
It's
cool.
really neat. Because otherwise there was no way to have enough stamina to get across this this muddy lake. And because this is in the Zora domain, and it's got a lot of literally like just crap falling from the sky, and it's covering their beautiful land. And Sidon is doing a whole thing trying to save their water source. But yeah, it's really awesome what you can do. And that one was one of the quickest Koroks that I've actually done. It took like
really?
2 minutes to put that thing together and then just get
How
across.
long do they normally take? There got to be a million of them, right?
I mean, there are a million of them, but sometimes they're ridiculous. Sometimes you do have to make like a full-on wagon. It's like, hey, you're gonna have to cross this area that has like 10 enemies, or like it's like you're gonna have to go in between this bokoblin camp or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do certain things just so they don't like mess them up.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's not like a true escort mission because he's not. I don't think he can take damage technically. But he'll still like
because escort missions suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they'll still roll downhill though, so if you accidentally like put him on an incline, he will absolutely go down the hill. So like yeah, you have to still be smart about what you do to him, but most people just stick him to something and then just like go somewhere. It's great.
Well,
I
if you
love
can't
the
take damage, put him on a shield. Then because he'll like your shield never break, he'll just absorb the damage, right? And then like the shield won't.
I don't know if you can fuse him to a shield. I don't know yet. Actually, that would be a funny thing.
Just like, here, I'll save your life. Also, take this hit for me, right quick.
It's so great, though. I love the Korok missions. They're so great. Fantastic.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing some more of that. Chat, if there was any games that we missed here, and I mean, I know there are. I mean, if I had even thought about Hitman before this, I might have made time to talk about it. But if there are games that absolutely absolutely belong on this list. There we go. We made it through that sentence. Let us know. Let us know here in chat or in the comments wherever you're listening to this in the future. We love these types of games, and we know everybody else does too. We're in our sandbox multiverse era, you know? We can't get enough of this stuff. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up our party topic. I mean, we could straight up talk about this every single week for probably the rest of the year, and still have like unlimited content. But we're not gonna do that. Oh, I got the fire department outside because this topic is too hot, everybody.
It's too fire.
It's too fire. But we're gonna wrap up the show.
Man.
It's a what? Oh,
it's the cardboard man from.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Oh boy, I hope we can clip something together that's just the sound of a fire truck, and then it's that guy. We gotta get a name. Has the internet named that character? He's gone super viral,
like,
right?
How is it not Firecrotch?
I don't remember seeing a name yet, actually.
Well, maybe we'll have to give him his own.
We'll have to name him.
Yeah, name for our community here. But that'll do it for the show. We'll be back again next Thursday with probably the three of us, usually. Talking about a bunch more games. We'll probably hear some more of our Mech May on Sav's channel. Again, that's twitch.tv/SovereignSid. You can find links to all of our channels and everything, socials, Discord, all that good stuff through partyinvite.games. You can also go directly to our Discord. It's discord.gg/partyinviteshow. We'd love to have you. Our Discord's popping, and if you're somebody who likes to have big long threads about individual games like Tears of the Kingdom, then that is perfect. You're going to see some more streaming on this channel in the near future. We don't have a schedule lined up, but you can expect me back again on Monday for more roguelikes. I probably won't play Darkest Dungeon next week just to give it some time to breathe. At least I won't play it on Monday. But I am loving that game, and thanks to our community for naming those characters. I love to have characters that we can care about, knowing that they're probably not going to make it, you know. But that's all about good storytelling. Other than that, what do we have? We have a few weeks from now. We are still lining out details, but we have the Summer Games Fest with Jeff Keighley and all the other things, the not E3 happening. We're gonna get together and have we're gonna have some stuff going on in our community, especially our Discord. With, again, more details to come. But that is in 3 weeks. That's starting on June 8th, which is a Thursday. So if you're the kind of person who's interested in that, both the show with all the news and indies and all that stuff, or you want to be part of a watch party, if you want to get together, we're going to have something like that going on. We love Jeff Keighley's shows. They spotlight a lot of good developers, and we get to see lots of world premieres, as Chris would say. We still got to get that soundbite. We'll get it, though. But thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.